So I got this wedding invitation in the mail today, and I'm thinking of just responding with, I'm sorry I can't make your wedding, but I'll try to make the next one. So at one point in time, New England was the almost like Silicon Valley of the East. We had a lot of major players in the tech industry. For example, we had IBM in Armonk, New York. We had Wang, which was in Lowell, Massachusetts. Their building is still standing, but used for other purposes. And we had Digital and Maynard, Mass. Digital was just another one of the three big players in the corporate or enterprise IT infrastructure game. IBM was probably the biggest player, followed by Digital, and I think Wang was one of the smaller players. And Wang didn't survive. They unfortunately made some very, very, very bad mistakes and did not adopt the Windows and DOS platform in enough time to save their asses. So sadly, Wang has left us for good, I think in the mid-1990s. Fun fact, the Wang Towers, which is this cluster of 3 buildings, at the time they had vacated the premises, it was sold to a real estate developer, a business real estate developer, for like $500,000. It was a backhanded, inside shady deal, but my father actually went into the buildings. He was doing enterprise security systems at the time, and he says that as they were touring the building to look at what had to be done, the place had been in such disrepair for so many years that the amount of work needed to bring the place up to occupiable status was immense. In fact, the place was in such bad shape that there had been a meth lab operating somewhere in the building for a couple of years. By the time they had found it, it was, I believe, vacated, but my God. Digital, however, was sold to Compaq, as Compaq was trying to increase their market share in the enterprise sector, especially overseas, where Digital was still a big player at the time of the merger. Digital spent most of its life developing its own systems, VAX and Alpha and other systems as well. Now for that, let's talk about this laptop. This is a Digital High Note. This the High Note series, I'm not sure how successful it was. I don't see a lot of these, but when I do, they're usually from a corporate environment. I don't believe any consumers outside of maybe Digital employees actually purchased these. They were basically meant to fill out Digital's product catalog. This is a CS450. I believe this is a 486, possibly a 50 megahertz. I think that's what the model means. In color would be, I believe the CS would be color, and S might be like STN or no. I don't know. Let's fire it up and see what we got. Of course, it's got a trackball. Now, this laptop is written hard and put away wet. I talk a lot about keyboards and how to tell whether a laptop was used heavily or kind of more of a display piece. Now, this is a keyboard that has seen some use. All the keys are shiny on top, and you can see where they were once pebble grained on the edges. All of these keys are shiny. This laptop was used. Not abused, but used. In fact, we're losing some of our. Looks like that's a silkscreen decal or something on these keys, as was common in the day. These were not like double shot, overshot, dye sublimation. No, these are like decals, and that was very common in laptops back then. So this is a pretty well beat up keyboard. You can see a lot of wear on the palm rest here, although it still has its product stickers. Model, deck, high note, tag number. Printed February 16th, 1996. And this looks like a company name here. Something Vincom Incorporated. So this is like an internal asset tag is what that is. Now, it gets interesting because when you look at the bottom of the machine, it actually has a digital property tag on it. So this was actually one of Digital's internal laptops at one point in its life. I don't know what this means. This could be a prototype. I don't know. It's hard to say without any historical reference of any kind, but it's not in the best of condition. I will say that. Looks like we have some internal breakage going on here. I'm going to preserve the laptop, but I'm not going to do anything crazy with it. Let's plug it in. I do have the power supply for it. It's unfortunate because I do have a case for this. I have an original digital high note case. I also have, just for historical relevance, I have a copy of the digital farewell CD-ROM, which includes historical images, some documentation about the company, as well as kind of a message from the CEO at the time saying, you know, it's been great, but we're dead, bye, have a nice day. I actually have that. Anyway, and the thing is, because Digital was such a big player in this region, I mean, they had offices all over New Hampshire, at least in the Nashua area. I remember just driving by their signs a lot when I was a kid. And so I plugged in the power. We have a charge indicator. Let's turn it on. The power switch is right here on the left side. Before we turn it on, let's take a quick walk around and see what we have for ports. So you got a floppy drive, 3.5-inch floppy drive. It's got a Kensington lock port with a cover. I wonder how that comes off. I don't know. Oh, wait. It's got two of them. There's one here and one here. I'm not sure why. We've got a keyboard, mouse. Look at the wear on this. It's really, really worn. This laptop has been used and for quite a lot of its life. You've got a Type 2, Type 3 PCM CIA slot. So we've got two Type 2s, one Type 3. That's how that works. With the manual mechanical eject buttons. This right here, I believe, is to open the, you got the latch openers there. Actually, no, I take that back. That isn't what I think it is. That's, oh, that must open the keyboard. Yeah, okay, here we go. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That's how you open it up. Aha. All right. Made in Japan. We've got a production date here. Let's see what it is. It was made in 10 of 94. Or at least the keyboard was. It still has the hard drive in there. It's got a Toshiba. What size is that? I can't tell. HDD 2432. I don't know what size that is. You can look that up if you want. We'll figure it out in a bit. Here's the battery pack, and it is leaking. Or is it? Maybe not. No, maybe not. So here's the battery pack. It's not even blowing up. Nickel metal hydride, so we know it's no good. Manufactured by Toshiba Battery Co. Very interesting. I wonder if this thing has, because obviously Digital wasn't a laptop manufacturer. They were more of a solutions provider than, I would say, an equipment manufacturer, especially in the later days. Okay, this was Susalka and Vincom Incorporated, and they were located both in Merrimack, New Hampshire, and had some offices in Massachusetts. They were a software consulting firm, so I don't know what that has to do with anything, but they have their asset tag on here for some reason. All right, well that's interesting. So we've got a pretty unique machine here. Let's fire it up and see what it'll do. Okay, power key has been pressed. I have status lights coming up. Dead CMOS battery, like really? We have a total of about 20 megabytes of RAM. Yeah, about 20 megs of RAM. 2480. This is a okay. This display is it was called a dual scan, DSTN display. Actually, it might even be a single scan. It's definitely not a TFT. But I don't see a division line between, or in the middle of the screen. But for a laptop that is as old as my Mazda Miata, floppy disk fault. So we've got a potentially bad hard drive. Let's try this again. We're gonna go and we're gonna try to get the hard drive function F3. Set up. There's a color display, but it does look like a single scan, which is the worst kind of color display you can find. But I don't see the division line in the middle, which you typically see on a DSTN display. It's interesting how the default date comes to January 12th of 1999. That means that it has a fairly new BIOS date. But the BIOS date was in 95. So, you know what? It's interesting. It is a DX250. I suspected that much. Hard drive, 324 meg hard drive. So it does have a drive in it. Boot sequence. Floppy, then hard disk. Let's try hard disk, then floppy. Okay. Save and exit. Okay. Let's see what it does. Okay, I've got to censor this because it actually does have somebody's name and the company that they work for, so I can't show that. Even though it's probably, you know, the guy's probably dead or he lost his job during the recession or something. I can't. Okay, so I figured out what this laptop was used for just by looking up the previous owner's company information, because his company name was right there. And it gets even more interesting, as I'll mention in a second. But this was used by a company that produces ham radio keys. And specifically appears to be, they produce desktop keys as well as laptop linked keys. So you can basically translate, I believe, text into Morse code. I think that's what it's for. Let's see if that's what. Let's see if I'm right. Oh, it doesn't look like. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so you can communicate over a ham radio with a Windows machine. All right, it's been a couple hours now, and well, let's see if she took a charge at all. Okay, power switch. So the battery icon up here, I believe, shows the charge status. I think. But as you can clearly see, or not, here I'll zoom in, it doesn't look like it's charged at all. It still looks completely empty. I imagine that that little battery icon will populate with little blocks as the battery charges, but let's see. Yeah, so if you put pressure on this, it triggers the other icons, and it looks like there should be some sort of status blocks or something in there. All right, here we go. It looks like it's at 1%, so that is very bad. That is very bad. See, here we go. We got pretty much nothing. So if I unplug the power supply, this laptop will just die. Hey, what happened? Well, my screen just went black for a moment there. If there's something wrong with this thing, I don't know, maybe. So let's unplug the power, and oh, it went right down to nothing. So battery's junk, but we knew that going in. I wonder if there's a way I can kind of shore this up. Let's take it apart, because my curiosity, willingness to make it better, I don't know. Let's see. It just seems a little loose. You know, like it's like completely falling apart. What the hell? That's a unique little hinge design they did there. Here comes the rain. It's alright. So I want to like pull this up. Here, let's take this stuff off. It's just held in by nothing, so. And what I want to do, where are the screen hinges screwed in? So there's a cover on the back of this machine. I'm not quite sure how to get it off. Oh, look at that. I didn't even notice that. In the back, we've got a couple of ports here. I'm like, wait, where's all the serial and stuff? They got like a docking station port here, proprietary something. VGA, printer, and serial. So you got all that. That's nice. No screws on the bottom. Let's open this up again. I bet I could repair this this latch. I have ways of doing that. My screwdriver set. Yeah, the display just seems really floppy. Really floppy. And, you know, I think that's the biggest structural concern I have with this laptop. The hinges just seem very loose and, well, I wonder if we can improve that at all. Okay, so the hinges, I'll show you where those attach. The hinges attach here and here, and then you've got your display cable here. So what you could do to remove the display, get the rest of this off, I'm going to take these screws out. Then we're going to undo these two ribbon cables. Oh, you can't really see what I'm doing. Yeah, improve the view here. So to remove the display is quite easy. You've got to take this cover off. It's held in by 3 screws. This is going to be our CMOS battery, and it is it's got some corrosion, so this should just come right out. We're not going to leave this in there. Just a NiCad battery, rechargeable. So this is probably used for sleep wake mode with the battery removed for a brief period of time. It's possible that it could do that. It's a pretty good sized battery, not your typical CMOS battery. CMOS battery is right here. It's a 2032. Matter of fact, I think, yeah, this is going to be our suspend resume battery. That's what that is. A lot of older laptops had that feature, and I just broke this connector off. Are you kidding me? Yeah, snapped it clean right off. Well, I think I can still fix it. All right. Removing the keyboard. I see how that goes. So removing this keyboard is probably going to be a bit of a possible challenge. But no, it's not. It just comes right out. Oh, how cool is that? This ground strap. Now for the, I'm going to remove the display and just kind of re-secure its hinges and just take the display cover off like that. Is there a wire in there? Yes, there is. A little ground wire, a little ground strap, but that wow. Okay. Huh. So it's got to come apart from the top first. There we go. Oh yeah, the whole... I think there's a screw in here. Let's get a small screwdriver here. There is. There is a screw. One screw in the entire... This is really a bizarrely built machine. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before. This is very unique. And not in a good way. I mean, they just kind of broke all the rules in laptop design. And, I mean, while it seems to be holding up okay, the hinges aren't breaking free at all. At least they don't appear to be. No, they're good and intact. A little bit of looseness here, and here, but I'll just tighten that up. The display panel itself provides almost all the structural rigidity, and it is very loose. So we'll tighten that up all around. There we go. So that'll improve that. Hinges are good and tight. At least they are now. Alright, so what I'm going to do is put... this is loose. There we go. That's all good and tight now. But check this out. There's a tiny little screw here on this status panel. See that? Look at that. Tiny, tiny little screw. Like, why do that? It's just a very unique way of putting a laptop together. I haven't... And the plastic is that cheap, Chinese-y plastic that... Yeah, it's just really crap. The plastic has a very brittle feel to it. I'm not feeling confident about this laptop in terms of how long it'll last. But then again, it is, 25 years old, so it's done its job and then some. So, how much longer should it last in our normal use? But these hinges are not very nice. Not very nice indeed. Put this back in. Like, why would they have just one screw on this entire bezel? Why would they do that? What is the benefit there? Like, this has the quality of, like, who is it, Nantan, who made all those really crappy Taiwanese laptops back in the 90s. It just has that kind of feel to it. Not even Toshiba level quality. Which Toshiba, in my book, is pretty bad. Always has been, always will be. However long they will remain in business. But it's just very poor quality. Very low end. Like, this little capacitor to nowhere. I don't know why that's there, what it goes to. It's not tack welded to anything. I mean, like, why even have it? I don't know. It's really strange. It's like, yeah. I don't even know what to say about that one. Is this laptop a prototype? I don't know. Why is there a half-broken switch on position S2? what is the purpose of that? What is it there for? These are questions that I have that I will never get answers to. Do any of you own one of these machines and can shed some light on these peculiarities that I am finding? Anyone at all, please chime in. Speak up. Speak up. Well, I think we've kind of tweaked up the chassis a bit, maybe stiffened it up a little here and there. So I think I feel better about that. I would like to save this machine somehow, but we'll see. Got to get this keyboard reconnected. And since I broke the connector, I don't know how successful that's going to be. Check out this unique hinge. So the keyboard hinge is it's like an elongated slot, and it just, the little hinge kind of clips into this little piton here, like that. Never seen anything like that on a laptop before. Okay, I managed to fix this locking bar for the keyboard connector. So, got a new CMOS battery to put in there. And we'll get rid of this old Duracell. This back on. So here's our RAM expansion. There's only one slot. That's okay. Not a big deal. I don't know what this switch is for. I'm sure it's important. But it's broken. Somebody's been in here before. That's usually what happens. And I suspect that's why that keyboard locking bar blew apart, because I think somebody broke it before me. Not that I'm incapable of breaking things. I don't want to sound like that. What I mean is, I didn't use a lot of force there. I just tried to pull it up a little bit, and the damn thing flew off. So I think somebody else broke it. I don't think I did. But that's just my opinion. This laptop isn't in as bad condition as I thought. I mean, it's not great, but it's not that bad. Clearly, this has been pulled apart before. Somebody's had their way with it. That's alright though. It's all good. This one goes on like that. This is a very rudimentary splash cover. Like, I don't know what they're thinking it's protecting, but that's what it is. Alright, let's close this up. This is a very poorly built laptop. This display is a little crunchy, but it's not broken. For removing these stubborn concreted in place stickers, I use a magic eraser. It tears them right off. I'm using window cleaner as a lubricant, if you will. You're going to shred the hell out of the magic eraser. It's going to make a mess in the process, but the magic erasers work really nicely for stuff like this. Well, now that we've cleaned the laptop pretty thoroughly, it's time to make it shine. What we're going to use, and I've tried various chemicals like this, but this is a Mother's Protectant. This stuff works really well. I use it on my car, or in the interior bits. It does a great job of making plastic shine again. Oops. There we go. You don't want to use this stuff on laptops that have a soft touch coating on them, like the IBM ThinkPads, and there's some other laptops out there that were made over the years that have a soft touch material. The IBM ThinkPads, yeah, you don't want to get the stuff on those. Alright, I've had a chance to play with this laptop a little bit, and a couple of things I've learned. It does in fact have a dual scan display. With the cloud background, you can just faintly see the horizontal line separating the upper and lower halves. on the dual scan displays, each half of the screen is independently controlled, upper and lower. Now, it's not uncommon when things go wrong with these dual scan displays. What will happen is you can lose either upper or the lower half of the display, and the rest of it seems to be fully functional. The other thing I found is the function keys, so you can control the brightness and contrast electronically through the function keys. It's a feature that was pretty common on the later end of the dual scan laptop era, which ended in like early 2000s, late 90s. Function F3 will call up system setup from at any point, which brings up another problem that I found. This machine is not Y2K compliant. Take a look at that date, August 3rd, 1918. So that is a problem. I imagine that a later BIOS update would correct this, but I'm not sure one was ever issued. So we'll. I don't think that carries over to Windows. So let's take a look. It says January 4th, 1980. So let's see if we can't fix that. Okay. What if it's almost as if there's like two clocks running in the machine, but because usually Windows picks it up from BIOS. But I guess if the date is invalid, it probably just resets to 1980. Let's see what happens. It is actually August 3rd. Because the clock is correct, but the date is not. So it is August 3rd, 2018. Let's see what it does. Okay, it picked it up. So let's see what. There it is, August 3rd, 2018. Let's go back into BIOS. Oh, there it is, August 3rd, 2018. So maybe it is Y2K compliant. Alright, I can dig it. Alright, let's shut her down. Now that we have a working clock or working BIOS battery, it's actually saving my preferences. So when I go to turn it back on again, it should, in theory, go straight into Windows and not harass me for memory counts and other things. Yeah, here we go. There we go. And how's our date looking? Good. Accurate to the T. This trackball could use some tuning. So there you have it. WinPack. What's WinPack? Oh, it's just stuff. That doesn't affect me. I'm taking it out. So I successfully cleaned off all the previous owner's software, at least most of it. And yeah, I'm going to kind of leave it the way it is. It doesn't have its original OS or anything cool like that, as far as I can tell, but it does have a good running OS. It doesn't have any errors or any serious problems. It doesn't look like this laptop was ever used for the internet, so I don't anticipate, you know, a load of viruses and crap. It doesn't even have Internet Explorer installed, which is interesting. So I'm okay with that. I think it's going to be just fine. I'm going to run disk cleanup, or just plain disk. Oh yeah, let's do scan disk on this thing. I should check it for bad clusters. I like trackballs, but only when they work correctly. This one, it needs some fine-tuning, but it can be done. I'm going to do a thorough disk check on it. Check it for any bad clusters. That'll take a while. And there you have it. 0 bytes in bad sectors. Not bad. And I just ran disk defragmenter. This laptop is in very good health overall. Its power management settings are working just fine. It just put itself completely to sleep, woke it right back up again. Obviously, the main battery is dead, so if I were to unplug it, it would not obviously come back to life without a full restart. I don't think I mentioned this, but function escape does put the laptop to sleep manually, and it is working just fine. I did find my original digital high note case, and I'm excited to show it to you right now. I've had this case for years, and I've never had a digital high note to put in it. I actually did, come to think of it, somebody did give me a bunch of old DEC high note laptops, and they were all in various states of disrepair, missing parts, etc. And I ended up scrapping them all because I couldn't make one good working one, and there's just not much of a market for these. I did another look on eBay, and I found that there are quite a few more of these out there. Not this model, but there's other high notes for sale. But the prices are ranging from stupid to pretty cheap. I have no desire to acquire any more laptops right now, so I'm not going to go looking for any more stuff. But as I do come across machines like this one, I will share it with you guys. Now this case is for a bigger laptop, but it works. It says digital on it. And, well, I couldn't find a better laptop to put in this thing because clearly they were meant for each other. I wanted to do a whole big thing on the history of digital, but there's plenty of other YouTubers who can do a better job of that than I can. And I will have to constantly field corrections for my viewers, and I just don't have the patience to deal with that right now, so I'm not going to bother. But there you go, the digital high note CS450. What model was this? It was a CS450. There you go, CS450. Your viewing pleasure, and I should keep this battery with it too, in case I decide to put a new one in there, which I won't. But yeah. Thank you all for watching, and have a great day.